Okay, a crazy new setup for my boat here this coming new year. This is totally different. I've hinted around what's going on, but now 2020 is over. I don't have any contract obligations. I will explain all of this to you, and I'm going to show you I'm in the midst of putting together my 2020 boat rig, finishing all the rigs. That is my new Bass Cat with the new Mercury on the back, new power poles. That's all the same. Gonna run the Era again, but what's going on it, a little new for me, actually very new for me, and it's very exciting. I'm not the very first one to do this, but it's gonna be new for me, and I wanna kind of explain that to you guys. So the big new deal, the big news for me is what's right here behind me. Yep, I'm gonna have all three electronics on my boat. I'm gonna have this EchoMap Ultra 102 SV in the front for, you guessed it, live scope action. It was the deal at a few tournaments last year, and I did not have it. I was running all Lowrance. I've been under contract with Lowrance for a million years, for basically 20 years. I had a 3-year stint with Raymarine. They make a good product, but they really kind of got out of the freshwater market altogether. So they did away with their pro staff. But now I've been back with Lowrance for a number of years. They have great technology. That's why I purchased 2 Live 12s. I purchased with my own money. Nothing, no sponsorship this year with Lowrance, with no electronics company actually. But I purchased these 2 because it is still heavily a part of my fishing system, is using a Lowrance on the front and back. We'll explain that a little bit later. But also got 2 of these bad boys going on. Got 2 Helix 12s, the Gen 4s, the new guys, 2 of those. I'm gonna have that with my 360. So that's pretty cool. I explained my battery setup earlier, and the only addition is I've got an extra 12-volt lithium battery just for my electronics. Do I need to? Probably not. Is it overkill? Probably. Do I want more power than I need? Yes. You can never have too much power, but you can have not enough. So anyway, that may not be for everybody. And then just to try it out, Bass Boat Technologies has got this triple mount for the front. Yeah, I talked with my guy Van down there. They make amazing units. I'm not running that this year. I'm going to kind of configure my own. I'll show you that up there. But yeah, that is, Van has really cool, I mean, just simple. It's like bolt-on mounts for whatever you need. I'm going to be using the Bass Boat Technologies again. I used it for many, many years in my console. Right here, you can see the console area. It's virgin. It's all just right there. It's waiting for the Bass Boat Technologies. I'm going to have a Lowrance Live 12 there, and I'm also going to have a Helix 12 there. So I'm going to be able to compare and contrast both units. I'm going to have Navionics maps on one. I'm going to have Lake Master on the other. Some places Lake Master seems like it's the dealio, and then some places Navionics does a really, really good job of mapping. So I'm going to have both of those. I'm going to have both of the side imaging transducers. I'm going to show you guys side-by-side comparisons of the Mega side imaging from Humminbird on that Helix unit, and I'm going to show you how good the Lowrance 3-in-1 transducer is with their side imaging. It is really clean, really clear, and I'll explain more of that when we get all this stuff installed, get out on the water, and show you all more of that stuff. But then up here on the front, it's just a mess right here. It looks like a marine dealership threw up on the front of my boat. That's what it looks like. And I'm really trying to get all this stuff installed today so I can break this boat in tomorrow and just make sure everything works. I'm going to try to do it. Looks like a decent weather day tomorrow. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I'll update you if I get all that, and we'll do some video for sure. But I'm going to use this little Kong Mini for some of the configuration up front. Here's the Garmin. I'm going to have this it's a 10-inch unit. There's the Helix 12 up there that's going to be on the front, and then here's the Live 12. I'm going to have in this tiny space right here, this tiny little space, I'm going to have all 3 of these units mounted, and you'll have to check back with that to see how that goes. But then right here is Ultrex 36 volt. Now the Ultrex, I ran for probably 4 years before last year I had the Ghost. I really liked the Lowrance Ghost. But to be honest with you, perfectly honest, Lowrance was pretty ticked off that I did not sign another contract with them, and I'm going to be running all 3 electronics. They were not happy about it at all. I thought they would be a little more professional about it, to be honest. But I still love those guys, and I'm still going to be running their units. I mean, hell, I bought the units to run on there. But anyway, long story short, the Ultrex was just easier for me this year to make sure that I had the 360. And I'm not sure if I'm going to have it on the outside or the inside yet. But there's the Mega 360 right there. Going to be having that on there. I'm really, really excited about having that on the front of my boat, because when I pull up to any place offshore, I drop that trolling motor. That 360 senses that it's in the water, and then it starts reading. And when it starts reading, it'll do 1 scan in just a few seconds. You can see where everything is within a couple seconds. So by the time you put your trolling motor down and pick up your rod, stand back up, you can look down and see where all the cover is. That is different than a live view, and that is the big reason I wanted this 360. A number of tournaments last year, I knew kind of what I was fishing, or I would go over a spot and see a brush pile, or see a drop off or something like that, and I would turn around and scan, and then I put my trolling motor down, and I didn't know exactly where it was. Sometimes it would take me 4, 5, 6 casts to find that piece of cover that I knew was there. Very frustrating when I know that a number of other guys in the field have that 360. We're not even talking about live technology. We're not talking about live scope or Lowrance's new active target, which I will get to in a minute. Not even talking about that. We're just talking about 360, man. That is invaluable to be able to put that trolling motor down and then be able to see brush piles, rock piles. You can see fish on it. Not as big of a deal. I think Brandon Polinick showed us 2 reasons. He won Champlain and he won Santee. If you watch those tournaments, the 360 was a huge part of him winning both of those events. Had nothing to do with the live. He did not have any live scope, what you call it. And he won 2 tournaments, and a big part of it was because of that 360. So I'm going to have both. Ed Locker and my buddy made the Classic this year. I'm super proud of him. It was his very first Bassmaster Classic. Ed had both. He had the Mega 360 and he had the Garmin Live Scope. That duo, that tandem is really, really, really good if you like to fish offshore or if you like to fish in general. It is a really, really good tandem. And I'll tell you, I was I was really kind of hesitant, but like I mentioned earlier, I told Lowrance basically since May that I was very interested in doing this configuration and running all 3 just to, I hated getting, I'm not going to say beat by it, but I want all of the tools and equipment at my disposal that I can have. And that was the way to do it. It was to have the 360, the live scope, and the, Blake Master. I want the best of everything on here. And and if I suck it up again this coming year, it's not going to be because I don't have the right electronics. It's just going to be because I didn't get it done. No excuses. There's no excuses. I want to make sure I have everything I need to compete. Now, Lowrance has since come out with active target imaging, which very much looks just like the Garmin Live Scope. There's a few differences. The Garmin Live Scope has a little bit wider beam. It's a 20-degree beam, and I believe the active target has a little narrower. I think it's a 15-degree beam. So whatever you see in that very narrow beam with Lowrance, it's right there. There it is. A little harder to find your lure and find pieces of cover. It's a little harder to do that because the beam's a little bit narrower. I ordered an active target transducer. I want to put that active target transducer side by side with the Garmin LiveScope on my boat. I don't want to see other people's, you know, like Russell Marine Products. They do awesome videos on comparing all that kind of stuff, especially electronics. If you've never checked them out, go look at their page, man. They do some really good videos and explain the differences and how to use these things really well. But back to the comparison for me, I want to see it real world. In September, I saw the live target in the water. I saw it. I knew what was coming, and I still left Lowrance because that 360, they don't have anything that does the 360 yet. I think they might. I strongly suggested that they should come up with something. They have the technology to do an amazing 360 view, but you know, I don't know. It's coming along. It's coming along. And those holes, see that hole over there? You know, I did installation videos on all my stuff last year. I'm not going to do quite a comprehensive of installation videos. I'm going to show you and explain to you everything I'm doing this year, but look at that. I got 2 holes in the side of my boat. That's where the Sonic Hub's going to go. One of the things I loved about the Lowrance is having that Sonic Hub in there. You can have, you know, radio, you can do XM, you can do the weather deal. I mean, it's really cool, and it all works right seamlessly in those live units. Very, very cool, and I really, really like that. So that was one of the things I wanted to get going. And then you can see back here in the back, I'm starting to get my batteries in there. That Pro Guide is a great battery, but it's out of here. It's going out of here. Putting those 2 Lithium Pros, 12 volts in there. Right over here in the Bass Cat, I'm going to put that's where I'm going to install the PowerPole Charge, which is basically makes all those batteries one solid unit. We'll do more recaps on that. But then with the Bass Cat, it's really cool. You can take these big doors. You can just take them right off. They're setting, you know, over there on the other side of the boat. But you can take them off when you're doing all this kind of work. Makes it really, really easy to get back in there and check it out. And this is the new Era. It's got a new top cap if you're not familiar. The hull is exactly the same as it's been in the past, but this got some new handles, like that handle. This handle you can get completely under. You know, you don't have to like jam your hand down in there. They got some other cool little neat features that they updated when they built a new molds for the top cap. But just to kind of go back over it, we're going to be running all 3 units this coming year on that Bass Cat right there. 2021, new season, new year, new gear for me. I'm really excited to have all these things at my disposal, which I've never had up to this point. I've been, you know, Lowrance only. Who knows what I'm going to do next year? You know, Lowrance may come out with a couple new products, and I end up going directly back to Lowrance 100%. So I'm gonna bring you guys a lot of videos, full honesty, comparing anything on here. Yeah, I'm gonna, you know, side by side, I'm gonna show you Lowrance and Humminbird on that side imaging, like I mentioned earlier. I'm gonna show you guys Active Target and the LiveScope side by side. If Lowrance would send me one, I ordered it over a month ago. I know a number of the pros already have it. Whatever, I'm paying for it, still paying for it, but hopefully they'll send that to me sometime soon, and I can put those side by side. I want to see for myself, and of course I'm going to show everybody else out there what's going on with that. So, you know, make sure you're subscribed or following, or keeping an eye on what I'm posting, because over the next 2 months I'm going to be posting a lot of videos about all this new gear and what my opinion is. And as I'm figuring out, I will explain it to you guys so you can make a conscious decision on what you want to put on your boat. I mean, for the normal person, I'm going to go ahead and say this, for the normal person to put all of this, all these electronics, unbelievably expensive, ridiculous money, if I wasn't competing at the highest level, I may or may not put all this stuff on my boat. It depends on how serious I was on what I wanted to do, but I may or may not put all these electronics on my boat. But I'm going bonkers. I'm going ridiculous this year. I'm going to have everything on my boat going forward in 2021 on this Bass Cat Era. So stay tuned. And if you want to see anything specific that I didn't mention with these electronics and my new setup, if anything that you want to see, drop it down there in the comments. I want to hear from you, because I will make notes and try to bring that to you later on. So I appreciate everybody watching, and look forward to having a very cool and interesting year, showing you a lot of cool new products for me.